That is, on the other cities that understand the difference between orifices and edifices. Is that psycho? Sometimes does things ever come back to you just from high school or psychological, an edifice complex? Is that being envious of structures larger than you are? Well, at least hormones don't forget. Your tongue can always say, I forgot. See, and that's the difference. That's the difference between the history of man, where it says hormones don't forget, and the other page, that how man survives. Not through hormones, because they don't forget, but how man survives. He survives by having his tongue say, I forgot. All right, let's see. Where were we? Don't answer. Well, surely you people see, I don't have to push anymore, that there is absolutely, it is de rigueur in the secondary world for there to be tradition, and not just religion, it's just the easy one to use again, but it's scientific fact, cultural mores, the structure of society itself, but religion's a great one. There has to be tradition, or you cannot have religion. It's not just a joke saying that they keep falling back on ridiculous, unprovable statements, which sure they do, but so what? That's the secondary world. Don't just pick out religion. Of course, you're an ordinary person. You could say, well, wait a minute. At least science don't do that. It should be doesn't do that anyway, sir. It shows how intelligent you are. Well, excuse me. Well, at least science doesn't do that. Right. You know, if you believe that, I don't know why you're still listening. You know, the secondary world doesn't require faith. Well, I know it doesn't, especially in the area of science. Yeah, but you don't know why. Well, certainly I do. Because science is more objective, it is clinical, it's not based upon any sort of hocus pocus, any kind of voodoo. It is based upon fact, and so we don't require any sort of faith. I know that, but you don't understand why. Well, why is that then, Mr. Smart Aleck? Well, Kyrud already told you, the secondary world, not just religion, but anything in the secondary world does not require that life encourage you in any way to be having faith in it. And there's a simple reason. It's not because, well, one area requires less faith, or one area is immune from needing faith. No, it's not. The reason that nothing requires faith in the secondary world is because the secondary world is faith. It is not steam, it is not Con Ed, it is not Pacific Gas and Light that makes merry-go-rounds go around. It's your imagination. It's merry-go-rounds that make merry-go-rounds go around. It's the sound of them continually breaking down, splintering up into little pieces, and you say, what was that? And the sound you heard was new little pieces being formed. I thought it was man, that's what I meant. So you could think, well, tradition I can see is necessary, but I see that would also tie down because you keep having to refer back to it. You remember where we were, the two guys talking. So you could say, what kind of revolution is it that has a tradition? Well, it's a dead one. So if you found something, if we were going to say that there was some religion, some social club, some political theory, that if I said, all right, one time that was a revolution. It was an actual revolution at such and such time, such and such place on this planet, and then the leftovers from it, what was written down, what some other people came along, the children of some of the people, they turned it into a blank, into this particular religion, into this particular economic theory, into this social organization, whatever it was. And then I could, I'm sure, get some of you to see that that is one of the proofs. If it's got a tradition, then it's dead. It's not alive. And so people go, yeah, I get that. But the guy points out that there could be two answers. He, in fact, says that the other one, that his version is better, that is the two-answer version. That the kind of revolution that would have a tradition, what kind is it? That there are two answers, a dead one and one just getting started. Then if you got any sort of neurons at play after all this, then you could say, well, all right, I went along with that first part. But how could you have a damn tradition if you're just getting started? Impossible, right? Except for this. You could not even get started without, are you ready? Then I'll say it. The illusion of a tradition. Well, you people in other cities, or I guess some of you, well, I don't want to get any little angels killed. Well, let's try it. If you just suddenly jump out behind a sycamore tree, just suddenly pop up on somebody's cable show, your cable station, and you're talking about revolutionist matters. And maybe you get somebody's interest, and they're listening. And they keep waiting. They tune you back in. And if you tried to question them, the conversation could go down all sorts of different alleys. But their anticipation, a certain kind of lacking, a certain kind of antsiness on their part, they probably couldn't explain. Well, they could, no way. Anyway, follow me. I'll get us out of this. If I jumped out of the TV set, the channel, and I could see certain people had been watching this and found it interesting. I mean, serious enough that they turned it on and would sit there and listen. And I said, well, you seem a bit perplexed. And they would say, yes. All right, I only have a few seconds here. Is there one question I could answer? You've been watching. Their question would be something like, where'd you get all this? That would be the basis of it. It might come out other ways, but it wouldn't take but one or two little questions, like for me to say, well, what do you mean? What do you mean? They might rephrase it. And by the time I say, well, what do you mean exactly? By the time I ask a couple of times, their question would be, it might go to two or three things. Well, exactly where did you come from, or who are those people there? But if I say, well, exactly what are you asking? That's not what you, come on. I do that several times, and the question would get down to, well, where'd you get this? And then if I ask one more, you know what they'd be asking? Just what we're talking about. They might not might want to use this, but what they're going to say is, all right, I don't want to lose you now. If they said, all right, where did you get this? And I refused to answer, or I gave them the kind of a truthful answer, like nowhere. Then their question is, well, no. There's got to be, you just didn't come out of nowhere. And if I said, all right, come on. If I really tried for a while, the word tradition might finally come out of their mouth. But do you hear? That's what they're asking. They're saying there's got to be a tradition to this. And they could even do the disclaimers through self-reference of saying, well, when I first heard this, I thought it was some kind of occult mystical group. Because I've read a few books. I was never interested in that. I never joined any kind of group. I'm not the sort to do that. And I want you to know that now. Oh, okay. Glad to hear that, sir. Glad to hear that. And so I just want you to know that, and so I'm not going to fall for that kind of mystical flim-flam. Oh, yes, I can tell you're not that sort. And they'd say, but still, yes, but still, tell me the truth. You stood here in my living room here, my den, you popped out of the set, and you've talked to me the last 4 or 5 minutes. Say, at least tell me this. You're here. Come on, there's some kind of something for this. It's some kind of offshoot of mystical Judaism. It's Sufism. It's something, maybe something I never heard of. Well, no, I'm well read. Give me some hint. Tell me several names of people or some kind of teacher, some kind of Zen prophet. Give me a hint and I'll catch it. They're wanting to know what's their tradition. The point is, back to the second possibility this guy gave in the conversation of what kind of revolution would have a tradition. And one answer is a dead one, and the other one is one just coming to life, just one just getting started. Because if there's not the appearance of a tradition, people's brain, and this has nothing to do with mysticism, by the way, as you should know, it has to do with the great field of Mary and the Lamb, or, those of you that like another way, electrochemical activities, that it has to apparently have a starting place. People will not accept suddenly being in a house and turn on the light and it work. No, they want to know, who the hell hooked up our electricity? And you could say, well, what the hell difference does that matter? No. No, you do not simply move in a new house and go in there and throw the switch and the lights come on. No, sir. If you live in the Northeast, of course, you want to know who contacted Con Edison. If you live on the left coast, who contracted with the Pacific Gas and Electric? How did these lights come on? How did the power get in this house? And that's not just being funny. And you would almost have to give a man some kind of answer. Oh, all right. The previous owner did it. I mean, he left it on. He didn't get the deposit. Well, no, this is a brand new house. The subcontractors had to have the power on to finish off the trim work here in the house, and I guess they just forgot. Or, of course, if you really want to make them feel good, you go, oh, and you wrap a towel around your head right quick, and you start making some kind of apparently mystical noises, like in some way You sent out invisible waves and you made some lineman from the Southern Company or Con Ed come over and turn on the power. That there has to be a tradition. You thought, you didn't get lost, did you? You can't just walk in a house, the ordinary brain. Remember, we're not talking about metaphorical, allegorical mysticism. It's electrochemical activities that the brain cannot suddenly be walking along for 20 or 30 years and going, and suddenly somebody jump out behind a tree and say, I've just jumped out behind a tree. And they go, oh, no, you didn't. You were there before I got here. And if in some way you could insist, no, I wasn't, and they go, oh, you had to be. You go, no, I wasn't. They can only come to one conclusion. Well, in that case, you don't exist. Kyrut covered it tonight. A wall finally looked back and said, look, try it like this. Even if having fleas doesn't prove you're a dog, at least it proves this. It proves you have fleas. No, I'm not sure I can buy that. I mean, you're going to have to tell me a little more than that. People will not accept that something has started anew unless it has a past. But then you say, well, wait, you really want something new? Yes, that's what I'm here for. That's what I've always dreamed of, is being a true creative person, if not through some kind of technical, plastic, artistic abilities, physical artistic abilities. At least intellectually, I would see myself as somebody truly hungering for the new. Now, you mean truly? Yes, I do. Well, how about this? What? Well, this. Well, I don't know. Tell me a little more about it. What the hell else you want to know? Well, I'd like to know where this came from. What's the basis of you saying this? It's either, if it has a tradition, if it was religion, if it was a school of art, a line of thought, and it has a tradition, it's dead. Or it's just getting started. Of course, there is, built into that, an even better one if you followed it, if it was actually a revolution getting started, and it seemed to have a tradition, the tradition's an illusion. But then you should be able to say, well, you're right, but they had to trick me to get me started. But yeah, you're right. But it does not have anything to do with me, with you, with people. It has to do with the matter of electrochemical activity inside of this closet. That the mind can say, I want something new, but not that new. Well, how new is that? Well, so new that I can't tell where it came from. But what is the ultimate? What would be the paramount definition of newness? It is so new, I have no idea where it came from. Well, sure you do. I jumped right out behind the sycamore and I said, boo. But then you started insisting, all right, where'd you come from? How'd you get there? I just jumped out. No. I will end by at least asking, do you realize that even has less to do with what I'm talking about verbally than I just got through saying it has to do? Because it's even more subtle than electrochemical. The mind simply cannot hear anything that has no tradition whatsoever. And yet it is built in. The more intellectual, the more spiritual, the more civilized, the more apparently progressive a human mind is, the more it will insist, yes, I am open to new ideas. There is no doubt we must press forward and blah, 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 blah for thousands of years, which they're supposed to. I mean, since John Philip Sousa died and before he was born, you've got to march to something, and part of it is people saying, God damn, are we going to march forever? Yes, that's the sound of it. It's not Stars and Stripes forever. It's not the Rudensky March. Just in those of you that think John Philip Sousa had a lock on marches. The mind continues to say, I would like to hear something new, and not just philosophically, may I point out, not just theoretically. It wants to hear something new on the basis of specific questions. If you ask a man, if you told a man, you have won a prize, and in lieu of $10 billion, and after you got through crying, once you explain what in lieu of meant, People in Alabama, that means instead of. Now they're really crying. If you said in lieu of the $10 million, what you're going to get is an answer to any question you want. And after you got through sobbing and crying, then the question would be, not theoretical, not just, well, I want to hear something new. You can say, I can answer one question. Don't ask me how, but I can answer one question and actually answer it, whatever you want to know. All right, what is it people are going to ask? Not theoretical, not just, they want to ask something specific. What you can pick out your own. Just if you're an ordinary person, they might want to say, well, do you live after you die? That's what I want to know. Are people who dead, are they actually alive? Will I see my mama someday in heaven? I assume it's somewhere in there that an average person say, do you live after you die? That's what I want to know. But now think about it. Is that what they're asking? Do they want to hear something new? Is that the answer they want? I mean, is that the question they want to ask? Because it's already been asked. You can go anywhere on this planet. You wouldn't need this secret guy that jumped up and can answer truly. Let's assume that he was telling the truth. That this genie or this spirit that showed up and said, instead of the $10 million that you won, which I noticed he didn't bother to tell the guy what happened to it. But he says, instead of that, I'm here to answer any question. You could ask anybody on the planet. What happens when you die? And you'd be hard pressed. You'd have to go through, God knows, millions of people before you might get somebody that says, well, I'm not sure. They would say, well, my church says so-and-so, or the guys across the street, or this holy book, or this book I read. But everyone would say something. In other words, the knowledge, so-called knowledge of, just stay with that example of what happens when you die, everybody knows. Or if you want to look at it, everybody has an opinion, but they take the opinions being seriously. Everyone knows. So what's the person asking? If they say, well, I want to know if you can really answer one question, absolutely, yes, and it's the truth, yes, then I want to know what happens after you die. Do they? I mean, why is that a question? They already know. The translation being, they already know all they can know. What are you going to tell them if you knew? If you knew something. They're not asking for anything new, except for this. They are asking for something new, except they can't hear it. They've already heard all you can hear. And it's not to say that the stories that are now available are wrong. It's just all anybody can hear. If the person followed into that and said, wait a minute, I followed all that, and I'm an exception to that. I hear what you say, and I am not hidebound to tradition of any kind. I want the truth. I want to hear something new. But they can't. Not because of them, because of the nature of the electrochemical dynamics in the human nervous system. Therefore, anything that seems to offer any extraordinary promise, such as what we're calling the revolution, if it has a tradition, it is dead. Or it's just getting started. In either case, or speaking for some, in either case, are you sure I can't get the $10 million? Bye.